Panama City, July 1st, 2000. A convoy of diplomatic vehicles rolled through the checkpoint. Heat shimmered off the asphalt. Customs agents pressed a button and the X-ray hummed. On screen, 2 black backpacks lay open. Wires coiled from the seams, blocks of C4 glinting under fluorescent lights. Attempt 638 was aborted at the Panama border. Silence filled the plaza. A bead of sweat traced down an officer's temple. But how did it come to this? The answer starts on July 15th, 1959, Havana. The streets overflowed with victory.
The revolution is for the people, by the people, and will always belong to the people.
Fidel Castro, a former lawyer turned guerrilla, strode onto a wobbly podium. Flags snapped in the wind. Crowds roared. By 1960, 75% of Cubans backed him. He seized U.S. sugar mills and oil refineries. Anti-Castro exiles in Miami watched in horror, raising funds for armed raids. He flew to Moscow to meet Khrushchev and welcomed Soviet missiles onto his soil. American diplomats in Havana filed daily cables warning of a communist foothold. U-2 spy planes captured images of Soviet SAM sites by winter. Washington saw a Soviet beachhead 90 miles from Florida. Allen Dulles' cables warned of communist expansion. Langley's planners had already drawn up a kill list. But did they know who they were hunting? The CIA's lab was silent at dawn. Glass beakers gleamed under harsh lights. Sidney Gottlieb, a stuttering PhD who practiced yoga, slipped into a white coat. He carried monkey test results in his lunchbox. Rhesus monkeys twitched under toxin trials. 1 drop of botulinum could paralyze within hours. They rolled out the toxic cigar device next. Technicians hid botulinum in the band of a hand-rolled Cuban leaf. A single puff would seal a man's fate. Bulk batches left Langley for Miami docks. By mid-1961, 127 failed trials lay in the logs. Shell companies funneled $50 million through shadow accounts. They shifted to diving gear. A custom wetsuit bristled with a skin-eating fungus. Castro's next swim would never see shore. Then came the exploding seashell. Agents wired a conch to detonate on a dive mask. Test runs sent waves rippling. No target in sight. Johnny Roselli waited in Miami. He signed off on $200,000 in expenses. Mob couriers handled the shipments. But Miami's mob boss was about to make a $500,000 mistake. What would Langley try next? February 20, 1962. The West Wing's windows were sealed. National Security Council advisors sat around a polished table. They called it Operation Mongoose. 6 phases: economic strangulation, sabotage, propaganda, exile support, direct action, liquidation. Robert Kennedy underlined liquidation in red. Funds were approved on the spot. Langley funneled $75 million into shell accounts. Guatemala camps sprang up. By summer, 1-200 exiles drilled in explosives and small arms tactics. U-2 spy planes kept watch. In Miami, mob couriers loaded crates bound for Havana. Posters slapped on Cuban walls named traitors. Shortwave broadcasts hammered anti-Castro messages around the clock. But 90 miles south, Castro's counterintelligence was listening. They intercepted a coded order meant for a birthday hit. The plan unraveled before the first shot. Mongoose was Washington's most daring covert war. Yet Castro still stood. How far would they go next? By November 1963, the kill file had new pages. A poison pen ended up in Paris for Rolando Kubela. CIA officer Jim O'Connell delivered it inside a 7-Up can. Kubela never used it. He fled to Miami. In Guatemala, 1,200 exiles trained with rifles and explosives. They hollowed sugar barrels to smuggle bazookas into Pinar del Rio. Guards found them before dawn. In Havana, security agents uncovered a sniper stash under a fishing boat. Barrels oiled, scopes set for a balcony shot. By the 1980s, the ledger listed over 500 failed plots. Cost: more than $200 million. Castro laughed at it. If surviving kills was a sport, I'd win gold. Still, every plan collapsed. Why did the weapons never reach their target? And who would be entry 639? How did Castro slip through 638 kill orders? In a windowless office on Havana's Malecon, Fabian Escalante ran the island's counterintelligence. By 1962, his agents had tapped 3,000 phone lines and surveilled 1,500 suspects. Plainclothes officers guarded every port, inspecting over 600 crates monthly for hidden toxins. They traced 476 suspicious packages back to Miami docks. Every velvet box returned unopened. Escalante organized a network of 800 informants in exile communities. He planted agents inside anti-Castro cells in New Orleans and Madrid. Every coded message was logged. Every drop of botulinum tested on lab rats in a secret courtyard. Castro himself kept an iron routine. Morning briefings in the palace courtyard at 7 a.m. Lunch with his security chief. Afternoon motorcades through El Vedado. He never traveled without 15 bodyguards. He read reports on assassination attempts before breakfast, always accompanied by 2 trusted aides. Still, questions lingered. Why did the botulinum cigars never leave customs? How did the fungus wetsuit rot in a customs warehouse? What flaw unraveled the exploding seashell before it reached open water? In 1977, Escalante laughed over tea in exile. We mapped every plot on a wall. Then we traced each blueprint back to its author. That was our real weapon. Castro's survival owed as much to routine as to counter-intel, an unbroken chain of taps, tails, and unannounced searches. And still, 638 call signs rang empty. A dusty ledger rests on a polished desk. Senator Frank Church's words fill the silent chamber. Senator Church, on tape. We must confront our own actions before history judges us. The Castro kill file was only one chapter in the covert playbook. Today's intelligence budgets top $85 billion annually, hidden from view. In Afghanistan and Yemen, drone strikes rely on secret kill lists. Edward Snowden's leaks revealed domestic surveillance funded by the same covert accounts. Oversight committees see summaries, not the full files. Secret programs shape global crises. Classified memos drive policy behind closed doors. How many ledgers lie unread in vaults? Who pays the price when secrecy becomes law? And how deep does the ledger go? And still, the ledger lives on. Which plot shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below. If you learned something new, leave a comment, because every secret deserves to be discussed.
By the people, and will always belong to the people.